Do this.
Therese Minton has been married to Bob for 19 years.
Has your husband ever done anything like this in the past?
No, he's never really had the opportunity. I mean, he's a very charitable person. And he's given money to various churches and charities and schools, but not something of this type.
In fact, nothing in Bob Minton's past would suggest his present course. He's a church-going Catholic who professes a live-and-let-live attitude about other religions. And causes? His wife, Therese, says, not Bob.
Did you ever say to him, though, maybe tennis? What about
golf?
Butterfly collection, golf? Yeah.
Yes, there were times when I did say, why can't we do something a little more normal, a little more mainstream? But it just wasn't striking the right chord. There came a point in time when I knew that this was it.
In the beginning, Minton's involvement was mostly about writing checks, big ones, to people who said they'd been hurt by the church. Minton has funded lawsuits, rescued an anti-cult organization, given weary defendants and broken-down activists the means to fight on. To date, he's handed out more than $1.7 million of his own dollars to some of Scientology's harshest critics.
That's a lot of money.
It is, but keep in mind that in this battle with Scientology, I'm the little guy. Scientology are the big guys.
Just how big is the multi-million-dollar question? The church claims 8 million followers around the world, but the critics say by their count it's more like hundreds of thousands. The global reach of Scientology is undeniable. Its urban literacy projects and anti-drug crusades are welcome in the cities and towns where they have won numerous civic awards and citations. The church is also clearly very wealthy, and Scientology officials claim, like lots of successful people, they have attracted their share of jealous, disgruntled critics and lawsuits.
The church says you're something of a lifeboat for a small group of very disturbed people who make outrageous claims on the internet.
It may seem outrageous to the Church of Scientology, but they don't to me.
But do you have any evidence that they're really evil and destructive?
Yes. Shattered lives, broken families, mental fragility, a recovery process that takes an incredibly long time.
Although some people would say these people were mentally fragile and a little odd before they went into the Church of Scientology.
Well, if you that would be the easiest thing to say, but they're no different than you or me, by and large. And any of us at some stage of our life could be vulnerable to the type of seduction that a cult can pull off.
Come on, Sebastian.
Not surprisingly, Minton has developed a loyal and passionate following among some former Scientologists. In the home of Vaughn and Stacy Young, the name Bob Minton is practically holy.
You've heard of these types. People call them angels. They just show up and they just do these things.
Vaughn Young and his wife Stacy left the church in 1989, embittered by their experience and determined to start a new life. They rented a house in Seattle and opened a sanctuary for abandoned cats and dogs. But a few years later, the Youngs decided to go public, criticizing the church as a dangerous cult. And they provoked what they say was an all-out assault by the church to destroy their lives.
They will find your vulnerability and use that to try to silence you.
In the summer of 1994, a newsletter showed up around the Youngs' neighborhood, accusing them of things like extortion and promiscuity. Over the next 3 years, they learned that private investigators were asking suspicious questions of their friends and neighbors and accusing the Youngs of harboring diseased cats. The Church of Scientology denies trying to harass Vaughn and Stacy Young. It says the Youngs were happy church members until they decided they could make money selling what it calls untrue horror stories of life in the church. But whoever called the neighbors, zoning officials, and City Hall to complain about the Youngs' animal shelters succeeded in getting the city to shut it down.
We were about a week and a half away from having to move. We were in a state of catastrophe.
And right around that time, Stacy and Vaughn got a phone call.
He says, my name is Bob Minton. I read what was happening with your animal sanctuary. And I just wanted to know if there's some way that I could help you out.
Out of the blue, this Bob Minton, this voice on the phone, came into their lives. He bought the Youngs a new house where they could legally keep their animals for $250,000. Incredibly, he saved the animal shelter. Stacy says she'll never forget the day she picked up her new key.
We came to the house, we opened the front door, and Bob Minton had a huge bouquet of flowers on the table for us. It incredible. It was real. It really was real.
And you still hadn't.
And we'd never met this guy. And he just said, welcome to your new house. Congratulations.
A lot of my friends say, you know, these people are not your problems.
They're not, are they?
But they are. I mean, we all do have a responsibility to each other.
Bob Minton's love thy neighbor justification for becoming Scientology's public enemy number one sounds like something else to church officials.
Bob Minton falls into a category similar to those anti-Semites who are out to make it seem like there is something wrong with being a Jew.
Senior Scientology official Mike Rinder and his colleagues at the church think Minton is an impressionable man who's been manipulated by the critics and misinformed.
I think that he has decided that this is some crusade, something that will get attention for himself. Maybe he was bored. Maybe he's an idle millionaire that doesn't have anything better to do in life.
Good eye, good eye. But if Bob Minton was bored before, he's not anymore, because he's finding out for himself, when you pick a fight with the Church of Scientology, this church does not turn the other cheek.
L. Ron Hubbard says, we do not find critics of Scientology who do not have criminal pasts. Over and over, we prove this. We have this technical fact. Those who oppose us have crimes to hide. Do you believe that?
Sure.
People who oppose you are undoubtedly criminals?
I believe that, yeah.
Is Bob Minton a criminal?
I think that we will discover that at some point.
When we return, will the Scientology investigation find out anything about Bob Minton?